Hi again, everybody. It's Mrs. Grissom, and if you can't tell that I am excited and actually out of breath and kind of sweaty because I literally just ran home to get the book that I heard was delivered at my house. So I ran home, grabbed this book because I have been waiting for this book for probably 4 months. It just got published, but I was able to read it, not just once, but 3 times before today, because I have lots of favorite books. Well, I take that back. I had a lot of favorite books until I read this one. And this book that I'm going to talk to you about today is my all-time favorite book ever. Ever. One book, my favorite book ever. Ready? This is The Canyon's Edge by Dusti Bowling. And right behind me are the books that she's already published. She has written Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus, Momentous Events in the Life of a Cactus, and 24 Hours of Nowhere. All are really good. Really, really good. Except this is even better. Okay, so I loved this. Okay, The Canyon's Edge is the absolute most heart-pounding, most adventurous, most edge-of-your-seat book I have ever read in my entire life. And it is approximately 200 pages long, but it only takes 2 to 2.5 hours to read because it starts off as a chapter verse and then it goes to in verse. And if you've never read a book in verse, you know, well, if you haven't read a book in verse, you need to because they're awesome and they're very, very quick to read. So, The Canyon's Edge is about a girl. She's 13, I can't remember. Her name's Nora. And she had a tragedy happen 1 year before this started. Something happens to her mom, which you learn about throughout the book. Something happens to her mom on her birthday. And a year after this tragedy happened, her dad and Nora decide they're going to go hike in a canyon. It's a canyon that he happened to find when he was out exploring one day. One that it's small, so it's not, nobody ever goes there. It's kind of an undiscovered canyon. So a year on the anniversary, on her birthday, they decide to go hike this little canyon. Her mom, her dad, and her, they are a family of hikers. That's what they do. This is set in Arizona. They go hike canyons all the time. They're expert hikers. So Nora and her dad go to this canyon and decide they're going to hike the canyon. Okay, so something happens once they get down in this canyon. Another tragedy happens. And this is where the story switches from chapters to in verse. And from there, it is a nonstop action-packed book that, I mean, literally my heart was pounding when I was reading this book. I was so anxious to figure out what happened. Super, super exciting. So throughout this book, not only is she fighting one tragedy after another, she's dealing with the tragedy of her past. And as you read the book, you learn what happened to her mom and you learn how she's dealing with it. And I just cannot go on about how exciting this book is. I read it twice this past weekend. Twice in one weekend. So fast. It took me about 2 hours to read each time. Read it, pick it up. Don't stop until you're finished. Like I said, 2 hours to read the whole thing. You will not regret it. Favorite book of all time. Please check this out. You will not regret this.